everybody, Lucrecia here for our first Q&A video. Just want to thank everybody real quick before we start for tuning in yesterday to our first stream. We streamed FF7 remake over on Twitch. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of you guys that came and hung out with us for a while. We ran into a little bit of critical error, but Jackie was able to work through it and get it working back pretty good. And overall, it was a really good time. So I just want to say thanks to everybody who did that and participated in the poll as well. We get it started. Pretty much we're just gonna go through a series of 10 questions that you guys sent to us. We get a lot of questions in our DMs, like regarding like stuff about the bands, as far as like what we like to do like in our free time, stuff that influence music, all kinds of random questions that we all thought were pretty cool, and we thought maybe we should share with other people too that might want to know. So here we go. The first question we have comes from a homie. His name is Gabriel Tappa from Facebook. He wanted to know which animations, like animes or like video games, have influenced our music and how. Did you want to answer that first, Jack?
Sorry, my kitten just attacked my back. Sorry, 1 second. Make them go at each other. Well, there's a lot, to be honest, because it's pretty much ranging from our childhood, our favorite things, our favorite video games, our favorite animes from our childhood to now, which we do find new animes and new video games that inspire us. For example, we recently finished Xenoblade a couple months ago. I've been playing that for like a year, maybe more, slowly, because I really like that game. That's something new for us that's influenced us a lot. It's become one of my favorite top RPGs, especially JRPGs. And then we have things from our childhood, like Final Fantasy. Our name is based off of it. And we have songs based off of it. So there is a lot, and there probably will continuously be so. So I guess I'll just start with what we literally have, which is, like I said, we have Rhapsodos. We have our name Lucrecia. It's Final Fantasy. We have Antipathy X Dismay. Can't even say our own name. That's from Hunter x Hunter. We are also influenced, like, subconsciously from a lot of video game music that we've heard. So I think that a lot of my melodies and my patterns can be subconsciously, it can be derived from my subconscious, which is influenced from these things I've listened to growing up, which is like classical and like video game music. And yeah, honestly, there's a lot. It pretty much is very integrated. Like I was saying on the stream, it's integrated into our very lives, our everyday lives. Our music. Even I think maybe personality traits that I have because of characters I looked up to growing up, since I didn't really have someone to look up to. But yeah, I think that I could probably exhaust the subject if I kept going.
I guess for the next question, our good buddy Mark Bird from Facebook, he asked, where do we get interest in Japanese and otaku culture from, and how did that come about?
Yeah, how were you introduced and what drew you to it?
Yeah, I'm assuming like that. Did you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go first, babe.
Okay. Well, for me, from a young age, I always was really into cartoons and video games. And growing up, I first started watching anime when I was I'd say 4 or 5. Back before Cartoon Network had Toonami, Fox, the TV channel that everybody got through the antenna or whatever, used to show the ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z. And they only had it up not even until the Frieza saga. It was literally all the way up until the beginning of the Namek saga, before Captain Ginyu even shows up. And I watched that, just these reruns of those for ever. And as a kid, I always knew there was something really cool and special about the way that these characters were drawn, the way they acted. They were much more, they reminded me a lot of the heroes that are like Spider-Man and stuff like that, or G.I. Joe and Transformers. But since their stories were so much more serious and not as lighthearted as your average kid show, they really stuck with me really hard, and so I continued to try to find more shows like that. I got into Card Captors when that was out, and Escaflowne, and a lot of the really old 90s animes, and Robotech. That's technically from the 80s, but my mom introduced it to me, and from there just kind of grew, and I started learning more. And for a long time, I didn't even know that anime was anime. I just knew that these were kind of style of cartoons that I really enjoyed. And as I got older, friends were like, oh yeah, this is anime, blah 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 blah. And I learned about Japanese role-playing games once I started playing games like Final Fantasy and Pokemon, in elementary school. and it just kind of grew from there, kind of spiraled out, and my love for it just always it stuck with me because I always, like I said before, the stories are just so impactful and the games are just so enjoyable. But you got anything to say?
Oh, yes. So, pretty much, I was just gonna say that I think a lot of us have, from our generation, have similar stories of how we got introduced to that kind of stuff. Internet wasn't really prevalent. I for sure never had a computer growing up, not until I was an adult on my own. My dad got one in my teenage years, but again, I mean, it just really wasn't commonplace, and I got all my information from the TV, pretty much, and maybe if I was lucky, a magazine. Luckily, I did have cable, so not only did I have the regular channels, which I watched the morning cartoons like everybody else, but I had some other channels that kind of, I was lucky enough to have to be able to see some weirder and more obscure animes and stuff. It was called the International Channel, and I saw like Fushigi Yugi on there, and I saw the Japanese, the original Japanese version of Dragon Ball Z, which I actually saw it first on there before I saw it over here. Apparently my girlfriend had been watching it for years, before I even knew that it was there. Maybe not years, but she's like, oh, I've been watching this. So I did kind of come across some of these things a little late, because I was so isolated, but yeah, I pretty much just saw it, and I was very drawn to the art style. I already kind of liked, Zelda and stuff like that when I was really young. And I just really liked pretty big eye art, I just think that's what it was, really, the art. And then I thought the action scenes were cool. And I thought it was something I'd never seen before. It just is very different than what I grew up watching. Which I grew up watching, like, well, it's funny, actually, it's not too different. Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. Okay, so I like the same in both both places. Looks like I'm drawn to the same shit. But for example, like Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, like a lot of us grew up watching that. So yeah, I mean, you see Sailor Moon with the big eyes and the beautiful skirt, and you're like, damn, she looks hella cute. You notice the more detail, you notice it looks different, and that was just so different at that time. This was like 90s and early 2000s. It was just like, some people liked anime, but it was very obscure. Whenever I met a fellow anime fan, I mean, it was pretty special back then. It was pretty special, no matter how old they were. Some of them were 20 years older than me, but you would latch on to those people.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I remember
and talk to them, and they're like, yeah, have you seen Akira? And of course, we see, Akira is like famous, but for them, that's their first anime or whatever growing up in the 80s and 90s, or Astro Boy. I'd bond over that with the older generation, and yeah, it was. And I remember seeing Gundam, and I thought they were the most cutest guys I ever seen in my life. I thought they were hella cute. I thought Hiro Yui was like the shit. I immediately started drawing. I mean, influenced my drawing. I already was an artist, so like I said, I'm sure it's all very similar to a lot of like people my age, how they found it, but in the order it might be different. That's what's kind of unique. So yeah.
Alright, so the next question comes from our friend Oliver Hill from Facebook. He asked a pretty simple and easy one. He said, who's everyone's main in Smash? So I'm going to start off with this one. Pretty much when it comes to Smash, unlike some people who usually go for like viability or like tier lists, I kind of just go with like characters that I've played with in other games that I really enjoy, since Smash is kind of like an all-star of game characters. So I would say like my main couple characters that I like to play are Cloud, the Pokemon trainer, Snake, and then Joker. The reason I picked these is, to be honest, growing up, other than Persona, those were like three of my most favorite games of all time. And then Persona 5, me and Jackie beat pretty recently, maybe like sometime last year. And I just really vibed with the game. Being a big JRPG fan, I just latched onto the character and just added him into my repertoire. But pretty straightforward for me. You, Jackie?
Yeah, as it came out, perfect timing. When it came out, we just like pretty much beat it. Well, I kind of like either choose. Usually, I choose like a Fire Emblem character since I first started playing Smash. I don't really play Corrin anymore. That's who I used to play. I play him still, but like just not as much. Although lately he has been feeling kind of better than he did before. But I really play Chrome now. So Chrome, Corrin. I play Hero sometimes. And then I choose like trolley characters, I guess. So I like Olimar, I like Isabelle, I like Piranha Plant, I like Wario. Wario and Chrome are probably like my two mains, pretty much.
The next one is from a friend. Sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong, bro. Sorry to anybody actually if I pronounced the name wrong, but it's from Connor Faria, I believe how you seen his name, from Facebook. A good homie, I've seen you on there quite a bit. He asked, what bands do each member take inspiration from? Did you want to go first?
So it's a lot because I came into the band with probably like a lot of diverse music tastes, as in like I really like listened to a lot of like Korean music growing up and Japanese music like J-rock, Korean R&B, pop. I listened to a lot of like grunge growing up, so like Alice in Chains. I listened to Alice in Chains kind of got me into like wanting to try to learn how to do vocals from back in the day. Linkin Park kind of got me into that too as well, singing and screaming. But what really pushed me towards the like actually doing it is meeting Frankie for one, because he was actually able to teach me and it wasn't as intimidating because it's an instrument you can't see. So I was always scared I'd hurt my voice. And I would say like a lot of the progressive metal that I started getting into when I was around 18, like 2008, which was Between the Buried and Me, After the Burial, Veil Maya, and Lord of Osiris. Oh, and The Faceless. So I met Frankie and we started going to shows, and it pretty much just made me think like I can sing and scream. Tyler Carter came out and he was doing singing and they had screaming, and yeah.
For me, I'd say the bands that inspire me specifically in Lucrecia, I would say I'm into a lot of like progressive metal, like also like Jackie, but specifically kind of like the niche progressive metalcore vibe that we kind of play. So I'm really into stuff like The Parallel, After Image, Era, Dance Gavin Dance, some heavier distance stuff like the other aspects we play, like like Tony Danza or Frontier or Structures. I really used to like them a lot. Rip or Fallen on Achaia or even Spirit Box. Like they're really really good. Artificials. Just stuff like generally in that realm of music. That's generally what really inspires me. With the music, generally me and Jackie have like a big. We pretty much kind of guide the band on how everything kind of like falls into place as far as the music sounds, the direction we take and stuff like that, and most definitely music like that most definitely has helped shape like the direction that I wanted or that we wanted Lucrecia to go. So that's probably what's inspired.